Well, hello there. I'm Jacob, and this is Luke, and we're doing the May live stream. There's a lot to get through, and hopefully, you enjoy what we talk about.
Yeah, so it should be about an hour, around about. We're going to try a new format, go through a few things today. So if you're listening, interact with us live. We'll chat back and forward. If not, leave a comment. Tell us what you think about the format. Yeah. So go through the intro. First thing we're going to talk about is what's going on in the news in the world of Hollywood. So one of the news stories I read just before was that Minecraft. I've seen Minecraft. What's your views on it?
I'll watch it when it's available on the streaming service.
You're willing to wait for it. So this movie's now reached $876 million at the box office. So it's not at the $1 billion mark, but that's quite a lot, making the highest grossing video game adaptation to date. Which I don't know how that's true, because I thought that Super Mario made $1 million, but in saying that, that's kind of not a singular adaptation of a game. It's an adaptation of a whole world. Is that how they break it up? That surprised me, because definitely Super Mario made more than that.
Yeah.
And comparing the two films, Super Mario was 1,000,000 times better.
Yeah.
When I saw this movie, yes, it was packed, but it was all little kids, and they were waiting for the particular scenes to throw their popcorns and carry on. I thought as an adult, this movie was really, really boring. So I don't see how it made its money. I do, because I think everyone went to see it once, but I'd be very surprised anyone that really liked it. So Minecraft supposedly has made that much money this year.
Do you think because of how much money they made, they'll make a sequel?
Possibly. I don't know where it would go, because I don't play the games, but I'm sure they could make a sequel. It's one of those things that will probably make money. They'll drag it out until it stops making money, and then they'll quit. So that's where I think it will go. In other news, President Donald Trump, so for our American fans out there, you're probably sick of hearing about him, is proposing 100% tariff on foreign films into the US. So meaning that you make a film in Australia and you take it over to the US, whatever fees they charge you to take it over there, he's going to double it by putting 100% tariff in hope to force them to start making more films in America. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think that's wise? How do you think that might affect the film industry if everything's starting to cost more money to be made elsewhere?
I guess it will take longer to make movies, but he's sort of a person, he kind of gets what he wants, but he's a madman. So I guess hopefully it doesn't impact the movie industry too much, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's wild that he's doing that. Obviously, he wants to see more movies made in America, which I would say most movies are already made in America.
Yeah.
But do you want every movie, do you want movies to not feature other parts of the world anymore? If you want to just try and push them all to America, or you want them to create sets to look like other parts of the world? I think the fact that movies are, I wouldn't say they're dying, but less people are going to see them in the past, that we shouldn't be making it even more expensive or harder to access movies. You're going to kill off the industry in doing that. I think we need to find a way to make movies cheaper, so then more people will start to see them and more movies will come out. So I think it's a bold move. I think it's typical of Donald Trump to flex his power and try and make everything cost more money. Because if they were to make them solely in the US, it's already expensive, hence why they go to places like Australia, where we live on the Gold Coast. A lot of films are made here because it's cheaper. And so it's going to cost them more, which means they're going to make less, or they're going to be less quality because they're going to have to go back home and pay more to do it. I don't know. I think it's wild, but Donald Trump is wild. So that's what's in the news. Our next segment is we're going to talk about what's coming up in the next few weeks. So upcoming releases. So what's coming up in the next few weeks that you're excited about, Jacob?
Well, the most anticipated movie for me, because it's the final one, I believe, that is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, is coming out May 17th. I've already got my tickets and very much looking forward to it and see where it goes. And yeah,
I'm excited to see it. I haven't seen all the Mission Impossibles. I've seen the first and the most recent one. So I don't know what happens in between, but I appreciate it being, this spy action thriller. I don't think I need to know what's in between. It would help, but I'm happy to go see this one. And if I never see another one, I'm not gonna feel left out that I haven't seen what's in between. So I will go see it. Probably see it release day or thereabouts. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see where it will go for a franchise that has drummed up a lot of popularity. What, this is the 8th movie or so. So it's it's obviously making money and people enjoy seeing it. So very excited for that. The following week we've got Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
You think you'll go see that?
Probably not. No.
Really? You don't like the cartoon or don't have any
I
interest?
haven't watched
You
it.
haven't seen it? Okay.
No.
I only saw it when I was little, but
What's the concept of it?
uh,
Because when I watched the trailer when I was at the movies, it was like animation and then it became live action.
yeah, well, the original was animated. I don't believe this one's meant to have animation in. Maybe they did that in the trailer.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do a bad job of explaining this, but I believe Stitch is the koala-looking thing,
Yeah.
and it's he, she, they, whatever it is an alien, and it escapes from its research facility and comes to Earth.
That's what happened in the
Yeah,
trailer.
and it lands in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Becomes friends with Lilo. I think Lilo might live with her sister. Their parents are dead, or could be a single mother, and then becomes friends. And then it's all about like trying to avoid the alien police coming to take Stitch back, and being in Hawaii. That kind of plays on all Hawaiian things, like being at the beach, the surfing, being obsessed with Elvis in Hawaii, all these different things. And I just remember it being a lot of fun. I think this will be a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to it. I think the animation that they did of Stitch looks pretty cool, so I'm looking forward to that. In comparison to a movie that's coming out soon, well, not soon, some stage this year, was How to Train Your Dragon. The animation of that, although turning that into live action, I don't like the look of, but I think they did a good job with Stitch, so I'm excited to see that. And then another movie coming out in between those, or just before that one, is Final Destination Bloodline.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of the Final Destination film?
No.
You know much about it?
No.
So I've seen the first one. I may have seen bits of others. I don't know how many there is now. But it's this premise of someone escaped death. Like they're meant to die, someone has a premonition and they avoid death, and that's not meant to happen. So death comes back after you,
So it's like Loki.
Yeah, in a way. So
He was meant to die.
So in the first one, well, that's I guess because his timeline's wrong. But yeah, so in the first one, I believe they're about to get on a plane, and this girl has like this dream that the plane crashes. So she warns all her friends, like, "Don't get on this plane. Don't. I've got a bad feeling it's going to crash." This may not be the first one, but this is the one I remember seeing. The plane then crashes. So then death comes after them because they were meant to die. They only escaped death because someone had a premonition. So, they'll be like in their apartment and then like the gas stove comes on and then the fire breaks out here and like stuff, things. And you watch it with this suspense of you see something happening. You're like, they're going to die because of this. And then suddenly like something falls out of the sky and squashes them. So you're on the edge of your seat going, how are they going to die? And so this one is meant to be the year where it first started, where this person had this premonition that this building was going to collapse and she got people out, and now death is coming after their whole family because they shouldn't have never been born because the mother should have died.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks good, but it's like it's gory. It's definitely not for everyone, but I'm excited to see it, even though I've only seen one of, I think there's like 10 of them or something.
Wow.
So I do want to see that. It's just a different type of genre. It's like really no one else is making that type of movie.
So from the 3 movies that we have listed, which one are you most looking forward to?
I'm going to say Lilo and Stitch. I think
Okay.
Mission Impossible will be the best, but Lilo and Stitch is the one that I probably have the most excitement about seeing. Because for me, I know this sounds bad, but Mission Impossible, it's spy action movie. They're all the same to me, like dime a dozen. So I think it will be good, but it's not my genre. So I'll watch it and go, yeah, this could have been anything. Could have been John Wick, could have been whatever. I know that's not spy, but like it's just, to me they're just kind of clumping the same for me because that's not my thing. Where like Lilo and Stitch, I'm looking forward to seeing something probably more than nostalgia that it comes. I think I know your answer. What's your answer?
Mission Impossible. I've already bought tickets for it, and it's the final one in the with Tom Cruise. I believe they're actually going to make like a prequel, but with a different actor. So I don't know how that's going to work. So
I guess that could work because we only oh, I could be wrong. You kind of find out bits and pieces about his past throughout it. So I guess they could give a full backstory, origin story to him with a younger actor.
Yeah.
Okay, that could be cool. I think why not keep the train going? Okay, so upcoming releases. Now we move into the bulk of things what we usually cover, and it's what have we been watching. So instead of rattling off each thing we've seen, we're thinking, why don't we break it into 3 sections? So we're like the best thing you've seen recently, the worst thing, and then kind of in between or something that's interesting. So do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Oh, you can go first.
Okay, should I go best, worst? We'll go interesting last.
Yeah.
What do you think I should go? Best or worst first?
Let's make it interesting. Go worst.
The worst. So the worst thing, which it saddens me that this is the worst thing I've seen recently because I was looking forward to it. And Jacob and I have talked about it. Is the show Austen? So this Australian show on the ABC about a young man on the autism spectrum wanting to meet his father for the first time. The actor as well is in fact autistic and essentially plays a version of himself. The reason why it was the worst thing is because I think it did a bad job of I think it could have been a lot better. So that's it. I think the acting was great by the character Austen. It was great to see someone with autism being given the main role. But the thing was, he wasn't the main role. So that's what upsets me the most. The show's named after him and he kind of became the side character and his father became the main character. And that's what annoyed me. I much would have rather seen him be front and center. The reasons maybe it wouldn't work. Maybe they didn't think the actor could cope with the pressure or the workload of being on screen more. But the best parts was Austen, and Austen was only a small part of the total show. And I lost interest as it went on, kind of, zoning out because who I came to see was not on the screen enough. So it was the worst thing because it didn't live up to my expectations and it sold me a lie, essentially. So the best thing I saw would be Running Point on Netflix starring Kate Hudson. This is a basketball show loosely based upon the LA Lakers and Jenny Buss. Yeah, Jenny Buss, who is Jeannie Buss, who's the CEO of the Lakers now. I say loosely because she doesn't really look like her. She doesn't become the owner in the same way. It's very easy to draw the parallels with Jeannie being a female GM and Kate Hudson's character, and also they're the same team. They're the LA-based team. So, but it's not really based upon it. It was a lot of fun. Quick watch. The episodes flew through. It wasn't super drama-based. Didn't constantly leave you on cliffhangers. It was funny. It didn't play into the stereotypes that Jake and I sometimes have our tribes with. Yes, there was a main character that was a homosexual male, but that didn't become the main focus. It didn't drag on it too much. It was just part of life. That was just the character, and that's what I'd rather see. I don't like it when they try and make it a big deal, where it's like in society being gay is so normal now, or like it's not saying it shouldn't be in movies or shows, but it doesn't need to. You don't need to highlight it. It's like, like if a friend of mine came out and said, "Hey, I'm gay," I'd be like, okay. Like it's not like shocking anymore. So you don't need to make a deal. It's just part of life. So it's just a character and their sexuality. It also didn't have like this overarching, like there was a running theme throughout it, and then now it's led on to what the next season's going to be about, which is good. Not a cliffhanger, but it's like you can see where the next season's going. But each episode kind of followed a cool theme that happens in basketball, a player having the yips with their free throws, dealing with trading players, having to deal with sponsors not being happy with what players are doing off the court. It was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed it as a basketball fan. My wife liked it as someone that was a Kate Hudson fan, so it kind of appealed to both people. So that was really cool. Tied, I'm going to put 2 in best, only because this other show we talked about a few weeks back is Love on the Spectrum. That show blew my mind. Really loved. I've only seen the one season, the American one. It was so good. I can't wait to see more, and it's just taken the world by storm. My feed on my Instagram is just taken up by the characters that are. I say characters, the real people that are on Love on the Spectrum, and it was just so positive. I can't think of a show that I've seen that was so positive and happy and not trying to manipulate people and Usually game shows and love shows are about trying to create feuds and make TV make you want to watch it. Where this was like you just want to watch it because you love the characters. So that was the coolest thing I saw by far.
What was the most interesting?
Interesting. I'm going to go Sinners.
Okay.
So this is the Michael B. Jordan vampire movie where he plays twin brothers. I'm going to say it was. I'm not going to say it was bad. I do think it was visually good, but I wouldn't watch it again. The movie showcased Black pride, Black history. Shone light on the issues that Black people face, and that was phenomenal. I really liked that. I liked the visuals, all that. It's just the vampire element. I actually thought it was horrible. It was a poor attempt. Not that the vampires were bad. It was just such a small part of the movie that kind of came in late. And I think we may have been able to avoid that. I think the movie had the chance to focus on maybe what the two brothers were doing in terms of their business, their past catching up to them. They had dealings with the mafia. I think that could have been a better journey, but instead we've chucked in the vampires. And the movie also had a few weird scenes of, which was to do with the music, where it was a mix between reality and, a dream world kind of thing. And I didn't hate it, but it just kind of took me out of what was going on. It almost felt like someone wanted to make a movie about blues music and Black history, and they go, well, let's just add vampires. I don't think the vampires need to be there. I think it could have been a really cool movie not focusing on vampires. I think it could have been them fighting their past and dealing with the KKK in that area. I think that would have been a way cooler film than vampires.
Yeah.
What about you? You're going to go best, worst?
I'll go the same as you and worse. And unfortunately, I have recently watched Star Wars: The Tales of the Underworld, and for me, I think it quite doesn't work. Maybe I'm in a different phase with Star Wars. I think it's the problem with the show is that it's really short. Each episode is 12 to 14 minutes, and it's hard to get momentum with the story. And for me, the problem is that there's only 6 episodes. There's 3 episodes about one character, Avad Ventress, and then there's 3 episodes about Cad Bane. And it's a sort of show that it kind of just ends in a way where you're not really satisfied, or you kind of go, well, what was the point of kind of watching it? And I'm a big Star Wars fan, but to me, I kind of prefer something like Andor that has more suspense to it and has more of a better storyline. What I enjoyed the fight scenes, but I kind of want more meat in the potatoes with the reason why they're kind of fighting. And a lot of people have said, oh, the Cad Bane episodes are awesome. We've learned more about him. Basically, what happens is that he gets he finds a mentor, leaves his friend behind, and then his mentor dies. He kills someone, and then he kills his friend because his friend married a girl they like. So, I don't know. I find it hard to... I think the main reason why I like this show is because it's short and sweet, but when you actually think about it, it's not that good. So, for me, worst thing is the Star Wars Tales of the Underworld. I think they're just making these short shows just to appease people that like.
Is this an animated show?
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything about it. So where does it sit in with the timeline of?
It's around when the Empire's around.
Okay, yeah, literally heard zero about this. I'm assuming it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the best thing that I watched is The Accountant 2, and it's about someone on the autism spectrum being an accountant. He's very smart with money, obviously, and him being a hitman, and really good acting by Ben Affleck. Really enjoyed the movie. There's one problem that I had with a couple of scenes, but that happens with everything. really, and I did some research. They're also doing a third movie, so that's really good. So that's my best thing. And the relationship with his brother was more developed in this movie. That was the heart and soul reason why I thought it was the best. Is that relationship is really strong and connected compared to the first one, and also the facility in the first one is more developed. In this one, we get to see more of the other people on the spectrum. But the one thing that was a little bit a nitpick is that they call people with disabilities like gifted and stuff like that, what kind of annoys me, because I don't see myself any different to, someone with a different disability. So I kind of think they chose the wrong wording with that. And the most interesting thing is the show called The Residents, and in this show, someone gets murdered in the White House, and it's like the lead usher who's in charge of the people that actually stay in the White House, and the best detective that I believe is actually an actress from Orange Is the New Shade of Black, and she tries and works out who the murderer is, and it's a really good murder mystery. The only problem I have is because it's a well done one-off, but if they do a season 2, it's very much like Truth Be Told, the after party, these murder mysteries when they try and do it again. So I kind of hope they just do it as a limited series, because if they try and do it again, you kind of go, well, that's my main worry. So I would highly recommend watching The Residents if you want some like murder mystery to watch. It's very superb.
Cool. It's good to hear that you like The Accountant too, because I was saying before off camera that I want to see it this weekend. I really liked the first one. I didn't hear much advertisement about this movie, even knowing it was coming out, and that there's a second coming. I remember when the first one, when I saw it, it was one of those movies I didn't know anything about or heard anything, and suddenly I saw it on DVD, I think it was, and I was like, "Whoa, this movie's really good." So that's cool. Good to know. So that's what we've been watching. We've obviously been watching a few other things, but they're the main ones. We could go into depth. In terms of, so now we're going to move on to the segment talking about TV. So in the world of TV, okay, so in this segment, what we would either do like a review or a trailer reaction, or something along those lines. Today we're going to do a trailer reaction because there hasn't been any shows that we both kind of watched. Before we do that, is there anything in the world of TV you might want to talk about? Something you're looking forward to coming out, or some news you may have heard?
What's your thoughts about the Owen Wilson golf show?
Okay, so I was telling you about this before. So I was really excited about this show coming out. Still very am. I saw a trailer for it today. Whether it got released this morning, I'm not sure. This was the first time I saw it. What I heard months ago was the premise was Owen Wilson was some kind of golfing superstar, prodigy. Something happened, and then he now worked at a golf shop, I heard, and then he, wanted a final chance redeeming himself. So I was thinking, okay, that's cool. Golf is a sport where you could still win at the age of 60. Like, it's not uncommon for people in their late 40s or 50s to even win the Masters in golf. So, like, his age doesn't rule him out. So I thought I could make a comeback, and golf is one of those sports where you can, as an amateur, get into a big event and win it, where, you can't just be an amateur and suddenly get invited to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work that way. So I was like, okay, there's a lot of potential here, but from the trailer, it does the cliche thing where he becomes the coach. He finds a young kid from the wrong side of the tracks, or doesn't have money. It doesn't really go into depth in the trailer. And he's got all the potential in the world, and he's going to turn him into the next big thing, and he's going to redeem himself for, what he never had, he's going to give to someone else. And it's like, I think that's a good story, but I was really looking forward to a redemption of this character getting himself out. Like, the coaching redemption arc is being done quite a lot. I know it also would be stereotypical of this down in the dumps person coming back and winning it all, but I like that a bit more than, just finding this kid. Because being a golfer myself, you don't just become good at golf overnight. It takes a long time. And this kid, he's got all this talent, and what, no one's ever noticed it before. He hasn't been winning events. It doesn't happen. It's like, for instance, I know I said it wouldn't happen in the Super Bowl, but let's say you're an NFL coach and you see some kid, running down the street from the police and he's just super fast, and you go, oh, he could play football. He's quick. So you teach him to play football. Golf doesn't work that way. You don't see someone like lifting heavy stuff in the yard. You go, I reckon he could play golf. But it doesn't work. There's so many little micro skills. It's so you can't just be. There's not many other sports where golf would translate to the golf. Like, yes, some good hockey players and cricket players come good at golf, but they don't just come good at golf because the sport's similar. So that's what I think is a bit silly. Like, you don't just because in the trailer it's talking like this kid's going to win the US Amateur. This is an event that the best players in the world have won it sometimes, or some of the best players in the world haven't even won it. They weren't even good enough to win it, and you're saying this kid's going to, through a bit of coaching, win that? Sorry. Yeah, so I don't buy that for a second. So that I don't know. I think that annoys me a little bit. As well, in the world of TV, been watching The Last of Us. I didn't talk about that in what have I been watching because it's not finished, but I am enjoying it, and it's staying true to the games. As a fan of the game, I think that's cool, but I worry where it can go moving forward. Jake will be back in a second, and we are going to do a trailer reaction to Squid Game Season 3. Have you watched any of the Squid Games?
No, I have not.
Neither have I, so this will be interesting for us to watch it. My reasoning for not watching the Squid Games might be a bit petty. I don't enjoy things that are dubbed. I don't enjoy watching it whatsoever. So that's why I won't watch the Squid Games. But it did take the world by storm. So let's check out the trailer. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see it because it's a live video. But we'll watch it and we'll tell you what we think. It's only a minute 25.
Who are these folks?
Always one of the PlayStation symbols on their head, like the XY triangle.
Oh, what's going on here? Oh. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, so he's like the main character in the other ones, I think.
Yeah, he was in Loki. Oh. Oh.
Who was he in Loki?
The scientist.
No, I think it's a different person. No, the scientist from Loki was like famously in the Goonies, and he was in something. I saw recently, but I think it's a different Asian word.
Last. Oh.
Someone that hasn't watched it doesn't build anticipation. I'm assuming by the third season. Like, I believe the premise is it's like they're offering people a way to make money, and they find vulnerable people that are in debt. I don't know if the game is for rich people's pleasure, whether it's televised on TV or it's some sick person that just enjoys watching others suffer.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing we're getting towards the pointy end of the show where we're going to find out who's behind the whole Squid Games and why they're getting made to do these things. But I think it's like they compete. It's like Hunger Games style thing, like you die and you're out.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You think you'll ever watch it?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. The whole dub thing just off-puts me. But maybe when it finishes, if people still think it was a really good show, maybe I might go back and watch it after the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's our TV segment. Anything you're looking forward to coming out in the world of TV?
Probably Fallout when it comes out. There's a new Apple show that's based off a book. Looking forward to that.
How's the studio? How's that going?
I haven't been continuing it.
How many episodes you get into it?
Like 3 or 4.
And you're not going to continue, or
maybe I'll see.
I've heard really good things about it, or seen it get really good scores online. So I'm intrigued to see it. I think that's something I'll talk about it later in our last segment, but that's something I'm going to be watching soon, I think.
Yeah.
Now we move on to the movie segment. So this is going to take the biggest part. We're going to review a movie. What movie we're reviewing today, Jacob?
The Thunderbolts.
So the Thunderbolts, or the New Avengers, which we both have recently seen. We're going to give our review on that and a score. So here's some details we need to know about the Thunderbolts. So came out in 2025.
Yeah.
It is called the Thunderbolts with a little asterisk next to it, which, is revealed why. Directed by Jake Shrevers. Not heard of who that is. I'm assuming probably somewhere in that Marvel universe and probably done a few things. It's a superhero action drama with a runtime of just over 2 hours, so about 126 minutes. You want to give a quick spoiler-free summary of the Thunderbolts?
Basically, it's the nobodies of the universe teaming up to bring down the villain that has wronged them and becoming a team. And it's more of a character-driven story and seeing how they can succeed within the universe.
Yeah, basically got a team of ragtag anti-heroes that are working for Valentino, who works for the CIA and owns like some wealthy big company. I don't know what it is. And she's got these people that, do dirty work for her, and they're not bad people, but they're like the anti-heroes, as we said. And they all kind of want out, and she's got this special mission for them, which then sets them up to become a team, and they've got to work against her. So it's a cool premise. I enjoyed it. What worked well about this movie?
What worked well was the character-driven moments, the scenes when they were working together, and the action was fine if you like action. And seeing this movie get back to the Marvel roots, the grounded visual scenes very much worked for this movie. See, if you want Marvel to get back to its roots, this is definitely the movie for you.
I think for me, what worked well was it was fun. It didn't introduce too much new, but it somehow built onto what we've already got and set up the new movies, which I really like. So I'm super excited about what the world this is built, and especially how it's with the end credit scenes, and I'm very excited about it. Plus also it was like a bunch of just random characters. It was just fun. Like it's just nice to see people not always have to be the main guys and fighting some super villain coming from another planet. It was almost what I continually say that I like most is when they deal with real world problems, wealthy businessmen doing wrongdoings or terrorists, things like that. So I think it fed more to my liking that. What didn't work well about this film?
So unfortunately, even though it's a very grounded movie, it does lose its footing in the third act, but there is a reason for it. So if you like movies being consistently throughout its runtime, that's the thing that will probably set you off. And also, other thing is that if you haven't been keeping up with all the TV shows and everything, you're probably not going to feel the same impact compared to someone that is. So I feel like people that have been watching the TV shows and all the movies will love this movie, but for people that haven't been, you're not going to care. So that's the factor that won't be good for this movie.
Yeah, I think you need to be someone that watches the
shows.
Yeah, the Disney Plus shows to not to necessarily enjoy it, but to fully know who they are. Like if you hadn't watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, well, you may not have even understood what happened in Captain America: Brave New World, but you would be a bit lost to who is this guy dressed as Captain America. If you hadn't watched Black Widow, you'd have no clue who Florence Pugh's character is or who Red Guardian is. Even if you watched all those, you may still even have zero clue who Taskmaster is. To be honest, I always thought Taskmaster was like a villain of Batman. I don't know why that was.
Okay.
But it's not that universe. That's what I thought. Because we saw Taskmaster in
Black Widow.
Yeah, and very briefly, wasn't it? Like there wasn't much to it. What even is Taskmaster's powers?
Taskmaster, Black Widow actually got it wrong, but that's why they killed it off, because they're actually going to bring back Taskmaster as male. Taskmaster is actually, he can, what's the word, imitate other moves that other people do. So he's an imitator.
Okay.
So that's his powers.
Okay. How does one get the power of imitation? Who knows?
I haven't read the comics for him, so I don't know.
So that's probably, I agree, what didn't work well. It had that little lull moment, and then we had that part where they kind of, without going to spoilers, the movie gets dark, and then a lot of people could have zoned off from there and gone, nah, this isn't for me. But I think it was cool. Was it the best way they could have did it? I don't know, but it was. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. Final thoughts on this movie is like an overall summary, and then we're going to give it a rating.
Final thoughts is that this is probably the second or one best Marvel movie so far, and the reason is that it's a grounded movie. It doesn't have the villain does have awesome superpowers, but he's actually a likable villain. Like, he reminds me of Thanos, and this movie actually reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy. But in my opinion, I know this might annoy some people, I actually like this movie more than Guardians of the Galaxy, because this is more grounded. What Guardians of the Galaxy is more like Star Wars and more sci-fi. So if you want to enjoy a movie that hasn't got the big stars, but for characters that you want to see improve, this is your sort of movie.
Yeah, I thought it was fun, consistent throughout. I think it actually, what it promised, it delivered, which was good. I hate it when a movie kind of promises that it's going to be this wacky, fun adventure, and then it's not. That annoys me. I think it was what it promised. There's limited dull moments, but generally it stayed consistently fun throughout. And yeah, it didn't sway away from what I thought it was going to be, which is a big ups, and I enjoyed. And I think it had a really good promotional hype train about it, and even post movie what they were doing with the cleverness of the name. I actually really like how they got the name the Thunderbolts too. It just had some really good wholesome moments in it, so it was fun to see that. So that's final thoughts. We're going to give it a rating live on screen. So we've got our categories. We give them scores out of 10. We add them all up, have a maximum score of 100. One day something will get 100. I can't imagine it will. Depends how good Doom 3 is, I guess. And then we can, and then we give it a score out of 100, which then turns into its percentage score. So the first category is the plot and storytelling. What do you give that out of 10, Jacob, and why?
I'd probably give that an 8. I found the story is grounded, like I've said. It gives a productive story that it does a nice job until Act 3. I was going to give it a 9, but I thought Act 3 is really where it loses the 2 points, because it really changes the movie, and you kind of go, you were really keeping it grounded. But unfortunately, when Act 3 hits, it's like, oh, this is not what it should have been. But it's a really well-grounded movie that I'm really excited for Fantastic Four, and I think MCU might be back, but we'll see.
I'm going to give it slightly lower, 7.5. Pretty much the same reasons. I think it was grounded, wholesome, fun, and then it got a bit wacky. And I don't know if there's a way they could have went around that. Also, not really knowing too much about that character. Maybe, I don't know if that's a normal thing for them. It does seem weird to watch a superhero movie and to question someone's powers, but I really question that. Like, I don't understand it. There's some things you're just like, yeah, they're an alien, they can do that thing, or they were born. But that's like, what the hell? And how was that? How did they make that happen? Like, with this character. So that was probably it. Maybe a tweak or two. The movie could have been, near perfection. Yeah, for that part. What about the cinematography? So we're talking visually and the sounds of it. I saw it in IMAX. What did you see it in?
VMAX.
So yeah, sorry, I saw it in VMAX. I didn't see it in IMAX. So we both saw it in VMAX. So we got the big screen, big sound. Was that? Tell me your score and tell me why.
I'm going to go at 8 as well. Marvel movies always bring the big movie productions, but you kind of expect that with superhero movies, so can't give it the perfect 10. I really enjoyed the action scenes, especially one in particular with the Winter Soldier. That was really cool, but yeah, 8.
I'm just again going to go a fraction lower, maybe just for a point of difference. So 7.5. It did what it's meant to do. It was an action superhero film. I think for me to get anything high, you need something special. You know, like the movie I saw the other week was Warfare. You know, like you could feel the cinema shaking and the guns rattling. Like it's got to be some. And I know some movies just don't have that option. You know, you watch a movie that's, you know, about two people being locked in a room, and you know it could be a great thriller, but you know the sound's not going to blow you away. So that's just part of it. But so it did well for what it was, but yeah, it didn't blow me away by any means. What about the direction? So we're talking about kind of, I don't know, the way they sequenced things, how they kept things, you know, hidden from the audience, how they made you feel at times. You mentioned the slow Act 3. What do you think? Do you think the director did a good job, and what would their score be out of 10?
I'm actually going to give this a 9. I really enjoyed how the movie flowed. Set for Act 3, but it actually got me really emotional, this movie. I really liked the struggle with the movie, but I know I'll probably keep saying Act 3 throughout this review. That really dropped it down, but a 9 for me.
Directing, don't know if I go a 9. I do like that it flowed. I'm usually one to pick up on when a movie's long. I really comment on it. Like lengthwise, 2 hours not that long, but it did flow, which is good. So I will give you that. It didn't feel 2 hours. I don't know if it's the director's fault. Some of the other things I mentioned before. I'm gonna play it safe with an 8. Mainly because I can't find a reason to give it anything higher. It just seemed like he did a good enough job. And, you know, what was it, the direction that made the movie good, or was it the writing, the acting? I don't know. So I'm going to give it an 8, going to play it pretty safe. What about the experience and engagement? So we both said saw it in the cinemas. Was that the right place to see it? Were you engaged in the film, or did you want to leave? Just more of like a feel vibe about the movie.
I'm going to give this the 10. I'm going to put Act 3 aside because that's more the critical brain, but as like a film experience, this felt like a movie that, yay, the MCU is back. I'm finally watching a good MCU movie. None of the stuff in Captain America Brave New World happened, or in Thor Love and Thunder. This is what the MCU is and should be, hopefully continuing from Fantastic Four. So for me, a 10.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 9. I think it was very, very fun. Yes, it benefits if you'd seen the other things, but you could watch it as a standalone because it's kind of self-explanatory. The predicament they get put in, the villain's motives, all that's very kind of cut and clear. So it was a good experience, and I'm glad I saw it in the cinemas. I think I would have liked it if I watched it at home, but I do think it was a movie worthwhile seeing it in person, seeing it early, so you weren't spoiled by other people that knew what happened. So
yeah.
Give me a 9. What about the point of difference of this film? Has it got a bit of X factor? Is there something creative about it, or it was just what you expected?
I'm going to give this a 7 because really the point of difference it has is that it's grounded, but superhero movies and Marvel movies have already been grounded. It's just they're going back to the formula that worked, but I'm going to give praise for it because that Marvel movies has put things bluntly have been pretty bad lately, so it's good that they're doing what worked. So as a 7.
I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to give it 5 just because I really like this movie. So I'm sorry because if the score seemed low. I did really, really like it. I just think its point of difference was that, you know, heading into Act 3, the new hero. So actually, its point of difference was the worst part of it. And for other people, maybe that part, the point of difference was, or that particular part was the best part of the movie. movie for them. But for me, it was my least favorite. So I'm not going to say the Point of Difference was good. It had a point of difference if I didn't like the point of difference, but that's a personal thing. What about the ending satisfaction? So it's up to you if you want to include the end credits or you just want to roll it from, when the, good prevails and evil loses ending scene. I don't know.
I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to, I guess, put everything into one little groovy box and say the movie ended quite satisfied because you're like, they're finally a group, very satisfied, but you're finally looking forward to the next MCU movie. Can't give it a perfect 10 because, MCU kind of do the normal cliffhanger thing for the final movie. So, but it ended well enough.
I'm actually giving it a 10 for the ending.
Okay.
I liked where it finished at. I liked what it set up. I think it was, there's a lot of possibilities that can happen there, and the fact that I'm wanting more, I want to see what happens next, and it's also for a movie that some people may not see because they think, oh, it's just those kind of B-list heroes.
Yeah.
It's actually really built the world in a good way. Instead of adding more confusion, it's added excitement about, oh, I can see where these films are going to start to link now. So I'm giving it a 10 for that reason. Now we're moving more onto the subjective things like what we think other people would think of it or how appealing it would be to them. So we're talking about the attraction. So how attracted does this movie seem to the average person? We've got a superhero film that, you need to have seen possibly a whole bunch of shows and 30 odd movies. And it's not even like your main heroes that everyone loves. Is that attractive, or did the trailer just get people go, this looks fun? Like, what do you think?
It's a hard one. I'm going to give it a 7 because I think people go, this looks like a fun action movie, and to people that have seen Captain America: Brave New World, they'll go, oh, give it a watch. So because you're kind of in two ballparks for people that are keeping to watch the MCU movies are going, that this looks like the bee's knees, but for some people, like I went to the movie in a group of fans. 2 friends absolutely hated this movie, and I'm the one that loves it, and that's because there's so much you need to watch and keep up with.
I've given a 7 also. I think it, like most things, it's a hard sell to people if they haven't been keeping up. So I've got to kind of factor that out and go, Marvel fans, those that are fatigued will go, oh, this looks a bit different. I reckon they'll go, oh, this might bring me back. Because, you see the trailer for Brave New World and you go, same shit. Yeah. You're like, it's the same. Yeah. But I think you see this, you go, ooh. And I think they won't be disappointed, which is the best part of it. So I think it's enough to attract the new people or the people that have kind of fatigued. And then those like you and I that watch it all, it got us excited. It's like, oh, it's going to be something different. It's going to recharge it, rebuild it. So I think its premise actually was quite cool. But yeah, the average person will see Thunderbolts and be like, I don't know who they are. I've never heard of them. They won't go. And it's like the names are relevant. You find out where they got the name in it and it's fun. But is what it is. Performance and casting. So it's got, you could say, the B-list characters, but how did the actors perform?
I'm going to give it a 9. I really enjoyed the chemistry, the performances, especially Dave Harper that plays the Red Guardian. He's just, every moment he's on the screen, he makes you laugh. And the actor that played Bob, I hope he gets more roles. He was kind of the emotional, who you wanted to cry.
I didn't realize he was in Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he was I think the nerdy kind of can go with the glasses. I don't know if he's a fighter pilot or a controller, but I can't remember the movie that well. But he was in Top Gun Maverick, which I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I cut you off.
That's okay.
Yeah. So, who else are you going on about their performances?
That's most of them.
Okay, I've given it a 9 also. I thought the performances were good. I think they actually had a good mix of characters that had that kind of dry, witty humor that works. So, as you said, Red Guardian was just fun.
Crazy.
I I like
Bucky.
Florence Pugh's character. What is her? Is it Elena? Is that what they call it? Yeah. Like I like her. You know, just her wittiness. Bucky's funny. I actually really like Wyatt Russell's version of Captain America. I think that's quite cool. And he's got that kind of dark story of, you know, he was a military hero.
Yeah.
He got kind of thrust into a role he didn't really want and probably didn't know if he could do. You know, made a mistake and now he's like, no,
Hated.
yeah, everyone hates him. So I really like the character development with that. So yeah, the casting was spot on. Obviously, they all were already casted in those roles in previous films, so they're not going to change characters, but they were good people for the role and they did a really good performance. How recommendable is this movie to others? So if I was a casual Marvel fan and I was like, oh, I think I might wait to watch this, you know, when it comes to streaming, what would you say?
I actually think it's a very recommendable movie, so I'm actually going to give it an 8. I actually think it's very. It feels like it's. I feel very revigorated from this movie that I like MCU movies again, and I think if you were to watch it and you're a little bit hesitant, you will feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm going to go a 9. I think most people, I'd say, just go watch it. Even if you weren't a Marvel fan, I was like, watch it. You're going to get something out of it. It's an easy watch. It's funny. You know, there's so many good things about it. The action's in it's good. The story can follow on. Yes, you'll like it more if you've seen the rest, but you might just casually enjoy it. So I think it's very watchable. So I'm giving it a 9. Last category is the genre point. So as we said earlier, it is a superhero action drama. How good is it out of 10 as a superhero action drama?
I'm going to give it a 7. Now putting on the critical brain with Act 3, that kind of... I see why they did it, but it kind of changed where the movie was. It was kind of very grounded for like 80 and 90%, and then it did this like stuff, and they like went in the Bob's mind and like very like not grounded at all.
Yeah, I think genres are hard. Like, was it like big time superhero? Was there a super villain? Do superhero films need to have big villains? All this and that. I don't know, but from what I thought it was going to be, whatever genre you want to put that in, it delivered that. So I'm going to give it a 9 because I think it delivered what it promised, which to me is a good movie. Like, so if you go to see a comedy and it's not funny, it's not a good movie. If you go to see a sad movie and it doesn't make you feel anything, it's not a good sad movie. So for a movie that was, if you want to call it superhero, if you want to call it, you know,
character driven,
yeah, satire, I don't know, it delivered what it promised in my opinion. So I'm going to give it a 9. Let's tally up these scores. What do you reckon you're going to be at, Jacob? I think you've probably given it fractionally higher than me, but I made up a few points towards the end.
Probably around 80%.
Yeah, you got a lot of 8s and 9s. 7.
It's
8.
as good as Mikey 17. That can't remember what we gave that movie though.
You've given it 81 out of 100, so you're pretty close to what you said. You basically went, 8s, 7s, and 9s, so they kind of even themselves out. What about me? 7.5 plus a 7.5 plus an 8 plus a 9 plus a 5 plus a 10. That 5 is going to hurt. Plus a 7 plus a 9. A few strong 9s in the end. 81. It's crazy how that works out, the amount of times that we get the same score, yet we differentiate in so many parts. So, there we are. 281%ers. Pretty high. A movie I would definitely watch again and recommend to others.
Do you think it deserves around that 80-90%?
I think so too. I think it does. Does it stand up against, the classic films that we get that score? No, but it's what we need at this time, and I think compared to the other garbage that Marvel's been chucking out recently, I think it sits well above the top. Okay, so the last part we're going to do in this video is adding to the watch list. Is there anything that what are you adding to your watch list, new, old, or whatever, that you're going to be watching between now and the next video? Do you think?
Well, obviously The Last of Us, but I've heard people aren't happy that they, and this is spoilers, but it happened in the game first, but not everyone played the game, that they killed off Joel, so I'm a bit hesitant. Do I want to watch that? But I'll persist and end up watching it. So that's definitely on there. And also, probably Star Wars Endor Season 2, of course, and yeah, other things as well.
So on the watch list for me, I'm still watching The Last of Us. That stays on there. I want to add on The Studio. I am The Accountant 2. And I think it's still a while away, but I saw a trailer the other day for the Karate Kid. I can't remember what it's called. The new Karate Kid movie. So when I heard they were making this, I was like, this is stupid. They've already got the show going. How's it all tie in? So I saw the trailer. Looks really good. So that's going on my watch list for future. So whenever that comes out, we'll talk about it. But I've added that to my future watch list. And then also I saw a trailer for Freakier Friday. So the sequel to Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan and how I think of her names from the Halloween movies. So that's getting added to my future watch list. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, so a few things I'm going to watch this weekend, and a few things I've earmarked for future when they come out.
Yes. What's the most thing you're looking forward to watching in your list?
What am I looking forward to the most? The things that I've just added to the watch list, maybe the Karate Kid movie. I think it's going to be cool. So, but out of things coming out soon that I want to watch the most, Lilo and Stitch, we talked about before, but they're future watch list things.
And from the trailer, I saw that Denny from the Karate Kid is
oh yeah, Daniel LaRusso.
Yeah, is going to be in the movie with Jackie Chan, and he's got a new apprentice. Will Smith's son isn't in it.
Yeah, I never saw the one with Will Smith's son, but I'm guessing it looks like from this some friend from his past, family member, whatever, has moved over to I think it's New York. He's getting caught in this kind of violence, and there's this Burroughs karate tournament, and he wants to get Daniel to come help him do it. So I think it's a cool way to tie it in. I think it looks a lot of fun. So yeah, for a movie I thought would be stupid, I was like, why are they doing this? Actually, a lot of excitement about it. So that's on the watch list, and that pretty much wraps up.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it, and see you next time. Let the force be with you, and bye-bye.
See you later. And